Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today I'm making a bit of a different Cyberpunk lore video because today I wanted to talk about religions we have in the universe. Keep in mind this lore is from 2020, things have obviously changed and we won't find out until Cyberpunk Red has been released and well Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. But I overall still think that the structure didn't change all that much, so let's get into it. Now, during the turbulent 2020s and the past collapse, which basically decimated the US economy and well turned everything upside down, a lot of people lost their faith due to well all the drama which was happening in their religious organizations, especially the church. But then after the martial law came into place and majority of lands basically dried out and people were in a lot of trouble, local priests were actually helping people secure food and shelter, and because of that people slowly started regaining their faith and in the process modernized the religious structure of America. Let's first take a look at the Roman Catholic Church. In 2014, the church undertook several reforms where they saw the surge in popularity, especially due to more modern views of birth control and married priesthood, because it has been long debated if Catholic priests could actually get married, and slowly that transition happened. Of course, they are still the power in the world, and the Swiss troops that protect Vatican were used actually against corporations that wanted church-owned land, but each attempt was actually repelled by the church and their troops. They also now look much more onto their own because every follower counts. They were losing many before, and of course you have to maintain it, so kinda every follower gets insane attention. Some Catholics were even hunted by certain corporations and then vanished into the safety of the church, where they were later hid into the structure, never to be threatened again. Next up we have Judaism, which hasn't been doing well after the collapse, especially because at that time Middle East had issues and the relations between America and Israel were actually shaken, and Israel never forgave the states for not warning them about the incoming catastrophe which basically happened there. Of course, Israel has been dealing with their own issues due to the fallout of the meltdown, but they're still, welcoming any Jew who can make the trip from anywhere in the world to Israel. And even though their popularity shrunk down, they still have a lot of fierce and loyal followers in their ranks. Now let's take a look at Islam. In that religion, there has been many changes as well, which can be classified in a sense as the renaissance of that religion. Currently in the USA there is a mosque in every city, and people from all colors and backgrounds kind of flocked to this religion. Of course, certain dietary laws like not eating pork saved many followers from certain septic conditions and poisoning due to the conditions of the world, and well, packaging, refrigeration and distribution wasn't all that best. Of course, right now Islam is extremely popular among the urban poor, which is the majority of Americans in the dark future, and it was actually very interesting to see this transition. Buddhism is also present in the States. Their follower count grew a lot because of, well, certain changes which happened there as well, and Americans started experimenting with this religion as well. And because a lot of people emigrated from India, the sect of Jainism has also grown as well. That is actually a very ancient Indian religion, traditionally known as Jain Dharma. Now what about other religions or followings, such as the Mormons, who kinda went through all of this turmoil? Kinda well, because one of their tenets of their faith requires them to have a yearly supply of food for their family at all times, and even though they were accused of being both fascists and racists by some critics, they still remain one of the most powerful blocs in the West. Regarding Scientology, they are still there but lost a lot of followers in the upcoming years, but since they amassed a huge amounts of wealth and have access to the media, they kinda maintain their position of power, but it wasn't as it was before. Now, what about other cults? There are a couple of cults in the world of Cyberpunk that look interesting and that I'm going to talk about, such are the beatified circle of the Celts. There you have the Immortal Pyramid, worshippers of the night, and coalition against the satanic fellowship of the gods, or CASFG. That's a mouthful. The first ones are a beatified circle of the Celts. They are a small isolated group which lives far away from any city. They are composed of people who ran away from the turbulent cities filled with fear and aggression of the modern world, so they basically now live together, you know, with the remaining nature and the forests and the trees and everything, and are led by a group of elders called the Druids. There is a small teeny tiny problem though. Because they live in forests and wood has become scarce in the world, guess who will be coming for them? Corporations. They want to of course scavenge wood out there, so it's only a matter of time until they are moved or wiped out, and you know, they are maybe even wiped out in 2077, who knows. I honestly doubt they survive the time of the Red. They usually rely on nomads for certain supplies and transportation, so even if corpos attack them and attack their forests, there might be some people who will come to their aid. So yeah, I'm actually very interested to hear if this religion is still, or this sect is still present in 2077. Next up is the Immortal Pyramid. Now, they believe that humans are nothing more than very intelligent animals. So no spirit and all of that nonsense, as they call it. They presume people don't have souls and they won't survive death and be reborn again or go to heaven. And it's funny because the religion is based on the Egyptian pantheon, and of course there is a small mix of, you know, Greek titles such as Phi, Beta, Kappa there as well, so it's kind of a mix of ancient religions. But the thing is, Egyptians did believe in the afterlife. Of course, they decided to kinda change that, you know, a bit. And, you know, even for gods, they think they are a mix of humans and animals and nothing more. Now, because all members here value their own life and want to be immortal, they are always extremely cautious, avoiding potential harm, and they are always armed to protect themselves. During 2020s, they started collecting money for a huge data center that is shaped like a pyramid, where they will basically download their minds into and wait until they can make themselves immortal. I mean, they could have just asked Old Cunningham for a quick extract to the net, but hey. Then we have the worshippers of the night, and they are more of your vigilante sect that roams the streets during the night to, in their words, protect the night's holiness against the evil that surround us, which sounds horrifying when you think about what sort of tactics they will employ and who do they actually consider the target. The followers of this cult vow to actually sleep during the day so they can protect the people during the night. And even some corporations pay them for patrolling their areas because they are cheaper than mercenaries, and plus they will fight until the very end. Of course, there is just one thing. They only work during the night, never during the day. And for the end, we have the Coalition Against the Satanic Fellowship of the Gods. This mouthful title and group is probably the most dangerous and strangest one, because they believe that the world is ruled by a group of evil gods, and, you know, good gods exist, but they need to come back. So what they do is they assassinate or attack people or organizations they seem they are, you know, the workers of evil. That's why they employ suicidal tactics and bombings where, you know, sometimes it's really hard for security forces to repel them back or react to a bomb. But certain corporations are already getting sick of them, so a certain counterattack might be in motion. It will be interesting if they had survived until 2077. They actually might have been wiped out by a corporation. Generally, you as a player in 2020 could have requested their aid, but of course you had to go through various rituals so they can cleanse you and trust you. But if you make a mistake and they deem you as a target, well, you are kinda screwed. And that's it for this video. I wanted to touch on the topic of religions in the game before Night City Wire comes, and I actually wanted to see how well this video is going to fare in the YouTube algorithm. But again, we're getting more stuff on Monday. I will be following the event, so 5 PM CES time. I will be going into a pre-show, then the show, and then later that we're going to discuss everything we've seen. So don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for more, and tell me down below what you actually think about this. Also join our growing community on Twitter and Discord, and I made a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to help the channel, you can do it through there as well. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.